This right here, I don't understand. You have people in ICE that's doing their jobs, and you have people that want to ambush these people, and not only ambush them, man, try to unalive them. This to me is insane. They're only doing their jobs, and the people that are planning and executing these little ambushes. You mean to tell me because ICE is deporting people who are here illegally, breaking the law, and in some cases, man, are violent criminals, rapists, sex traffickers, human traffickers, drug dealers, murderers. These are the people that you're trying to defend. I'm not saying they're all this way, but at the very least, they're here in this country undocumented, and they are being taken from this country and taken back to their home country. So you think that by ambushing ICE agents and trying to unalive them, you think that that is the answer? Dude, y'all crazy. Y'all just crazy.
Democrat voters are out for blood.
Crazy.
And it looks like radicals are happy to deliver. 2 separate ICE facilities ambushed, just 3 days apart.
Crazy.
We just got the mugshots from one of the attacks. 10 suspects charged with attempted murder. The feds say they showed up in black military-style gear and were armed to the teeth. The plan?
Wow.
Set off fireworks to lure agents out of the building so they could slaughter them. One police officer took a bullet to the neck, but survived. And sadly,
Wow.
This is exactly the kind of bloodlust Democrat voters are demanding. House Democrat lawmakers telling Axios how their voters want to see someone get shot while resisting Trump. Quote, our own base is telling us that we're not doing good enough and that there needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public. Some progressives are.
Isn't that crazy? So you want to go to these great lengths, man, these evil lengths, man, to either get shot or ambush ICE agents and try to unalive them. This is insane. And you want to know what's interesting? You have the Democratic leadership, and I want to be specific with this. Democratic leadership, they don't speak out against this. They didn't speak out against the violence against Elon Musk and his company Tesla and customers of Tesla. They don't speak out against this. ICE agents being ambushed. Once again, I mentioned this before, they're just doing their jobs. You have people that are here illegally, and they're taking those people and they're taking them back to their own country. Matter of fact, the United States has financial incentives for these people to go ahead and self-deport, and they're paying to take them back home to your home country. Unbelievable.
They're trying to satisfy the mob. This lawmaker thinks it's inspiring to block ICE.
Some of the most inspiring things have been when people encircle courtrooms and refuse to allow ICE agents in. There are all kinds of nonviolent resistance tactics that we have to use. And I've started something called Resistance Lab. It's a training on really the documented, most effective ways to counter Democratic backsliding, nonviolent resistance tactics to build that movement.
But Tom Homan warns it's only a matter of time before an ICE agent pays with their life.
Yeah.
These nuts that want to take it beyond protesting to criminal activity, they're getting rhetoric from the members of Congress, the senators who compare ICE to the Nazis, and Congressman J. Paul compared it to terrorist organizations. So these people, these fringe groups, feel emboldened. If a member of Congress can attack ICE, why can't we?
So, Dana, as a Democrat, how would you handle when a good chunk of your base wants blood?
I think I would forcefully push back, and I would advocate for strong enforcement measures like prosecution for attempted murder.
Facts.
If you look at those people, most of them are young.
Yeah.
And their lives are pretty much ruined. Right? You got a mugshot. It's going to be very, very hard for them to recover from this. I'm sure their parents are not proud in any way. And you think about how they must have gotten lured in. I was just talking to Greg because I was trying to remember. Years ago, Rosie O'Donnell encouraged Reality Winter to break the law, right? And encouraged, like when she leaked all those documents, they developed this bond of support. Like, well, what happened to Reality Winter? Right? Who had to pay the legal bills? When you're in a position of responsibility and you're advising younger people who might be ignorant of the situation, or maybe they have no morals or no character, then that's on you. And if you don't want to be tagged with them, then that's, again, on you. I said something this morning, and I like to repeat, because when I was thinking about this with these people, what they want is political suicide by cop.
Sure.
They want to be shot so that they can get attention. Well, President Trump was actually shot, and it wasn't for a political stunt. And we're coming up on that anniversary, and I think that the left has a real problem with political violence, and these folks are going to hopefully be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law because they didn't commit this crime in Philly or New York or Los Angeles where it might get blown over. They're going to be prosecuted in Texas, and that will be different.
Not a beauty contest, Greg, when you look at these mugshots.
How dare you objectify these beautiful men? Because I think there are a few of those are men in there, but they identify as female. Why is there always a high percentage of trans in either Antifa or any of these violent activities when you look into it? Somebody always is trans, and it's because they're not women. Women do not participate in these highly violent, testosterone-laden activities. They're just thugs, male thugs. And you grow out your hair, you're still a thug. You know what's interesting about this is I grew up watching a lot of movies, and there was always this stereotype that it's this right-wing white guy with a shotgun and a trucker hat. That's what we're supposed to, the stereotype of the right is well-armed, rabidly prone to violence. But in reality, it's always the left who projects this stereotype onto us. They are the right may have guns, they have definitely more guns, and they may know how to use them. But they don't see it as an acceptable means to further your political aims. So why does the left do that? Because if you see the world through the prism of oppressed versus oppressor, there are no limits when fighting the oppressor. You can do anything. Remember, when you're fighting Hitler, i.e. Trump, everything was on the table. So the left isn't good at violence. They just love violence because to them, it's just another tool in their little toolkit to win. Remember, January 6th, amazingly, I know this is crazy, the only unarmed insurrection ever. The only gun used was on a female unarmed protester by a liberal cop.
And they called that cop a hero.
Yeah, exactly. Where are all the Dems right now?
I love when they talk about J6 and they make it seem like the government was potentially going to be overthrown. Nobody watching that at the crib thought, oh man, these people are going to overthrow the government. When I was looking at them, at the time, I was like, man, them some dumbasses out there, man. What are they doing? You know what I'm saying? My views have changed since then, but I'm just saying, no one thought that, oh my God, the government's going to be overthrown. We ain't seen no tanks. We ain't seen no jets. There was no military. They were not under siege, and as far as weapons. There was no weapons that I could see. They were not under siege, man. It was like, oh yeah, we're gonna storm the Capitol. We're gonna overthrow the government. No one thought the damn government was going to be overthrown. But that is the narrative that Democratic leadership loves to push, or used to love to push. I mean, every now and then they still talk about it.
Who call January 6th worse than 9/11? You're having insurrections now every day. People are actually going out of their way with weapons to hurt people. Imagine you're an enemy of America. You must be thrilled with your 10-year plan. Sure. You've already got the border demonized. You instigated a mass invasion, and now you're getting citizens to attack their own government. The only difference is it's not an external enemy. The enemy is within, and they use the principles of the very country to destroy it. I am the victim. I am the oppressed. Therefore, I am justified to attack this country. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Harold.
Emily, the sophistication here, it's a little different than what we usually see from Antifa. Usually it's fireworks or they're throwing rocks, but they've planned this. They've obviously trained. This was premeditated. There is weaponry here that you usually don't associate with Antifa. Is this like more of a domestic terror situation?
It looks like that because look,
I think so.
There's 10 people on that screen. Among them, they had 12 sets of body armor. They had like shortwave, two-way radios. I mean, you're absolutely right that there was a massive amount of resources and organization behind them. And I'm sure there's like 20 genders among them too. But it's not just someone who feels so deeply and passionate about something. They just have to go down, to the town square and make a sign and have their voice be heard. That is not this. This is a deliberate fomentation of violence. And every time I see those mugshots, I just think to myself, what a luxury it is to be them. And, Dana, you mentioned their lives are ruined after this. I argue their lives were ruined before from whatever Kool-Aid they drank on X or whatever ridiculous Facebook site they're on, or whoever told them that they should be a different gender and have a different color hair, because clearly they've never conformed to any type of rational thinking whatsoever. And, one of the lawmakers, as they were sort of digging into this call for violence, he compared the voters to the Roman Colosseum. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what this is. This is 100% gladiator, where you have the people in charge that are egging them on. You have lawmakers like Hakeem Jeffries and Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters, who think that words don't carry weight, who think that it is okay for an elected official to call for violence against elected officials and law enforcement, and that they're not going to have accountability. And then you have all of the rabid fans who are watching a tiger eat a man or a lion get butchered and ripped apart and are just shouting with glee because they don't know pain. All of these people saying, it's time for us to get shot, do not know pain. All these people say, let's get arrested. You do not know what it is like to be incarcerated. All of these Upper East Side blue-haired individuals know nothing about the real world that law enforcement agents are protecting and serving. And it reminds me of, remember that white guy that was blocking the African-American woman from going to work? And it turns out that he was one of the ones that sued NYPD and got a real fat payout because they laid a hand on him during the Black Lives Matter protests, right? We saw those ones in Burning Man, tying themselves to the road. And when the law enforcement came and dragged them off, they were screaming and crying, he touched me, he grabbed me. Like the instant that they are met with accountability, they absolutely fail and wilt. But it is incumbent on those elected officials to tone down the rhetoric, because those egging on, they are aiding and abetting, and they will have consequences.
Damn, she dropped that ether. Woo, I agree with her. Offended by everything, accountable for nothing, man. This applies. She is right, man. You have people who they want to be violent, and they think that their way of thinking and handling things in the world is the right way. And then once they are met with accountability, they become the victim. You see this all the time, man. I'm telling you, this is a whole different world, man. I look at some of these people, man, and they're so sensitive and so soft, and the world owes them everything, complain about everything, and then become the victim. Oh, and they want to sue happy. Man, you gotta be careful, man, who you deal with, who you even look at, whatever, man. People are nuts. These people here, they're wrong. You don't sit up here and say, hey, man, I'm gonna ambush and take out ICE agents. Look, you are supposedly, right? You're doing this under the guise of I'm fighting for human rights, right? So the very people that you're fighting for, you're saying, hey, I'm fighting for this person and their family and their children or whatever. But you're willing to take the life of an ICE officer who probably has a wife, probably has children, has a mom and dad that loves them, siblings, nieces and nephews. So you want to go ahead and take this person's life, and then the person over here who's just being deported. No one's taking this illegal immigrant's life, this undocumented immigrant. No one's taking his life or her life. They're taking them and they're taking them back to their home country. How are these the same? You guys are just idiots, man, and crazy. And the Democratic leadership, they don't say anything about this. They don't speak out against this at all. Crazy. Next video, man. Oh, okay. So this one right here is the news coverage, the actual news coverage. I think the local news of this. So let's check this out.
10 people are facing charges for their roles in the shooting of an Alvarado police officer at an ICE detention center.
Investigators say it was a coordinated attack that ended when 2 people fired at police and unarmed corrections officers. Fox 4's John Anglin reports.
Though somewhat rare in the early stages of a federal investigation, authorities have shared booking photos of nearly a dozen suspects, images of weapons, tactical gear, and graffiti they say were part of a violent planned ambush at the ICE detention facility in Alvarado.
Clearly, the allegation is very strong.
I spoke to criminologist Dr. Alex Del Carmen of Tarleton State University for his perspective on the case, which underscores an increase in violence against law enforcement officers in other cities and states, particularly surrounding immigration.
One possibility is that they are related and that this is a national concerted effort, to go after first responders, which could always be. And they have not made that connection yet. The second possibility is that, in fact, this may not be related at all, and that these are simply copycats, that people are getting inspired to do this kind of harm on first responders because they're reading what's happening in other states.
In Alvarado, July 4th, around 10:30 at night, a disturbance outside the Prairieland ICE lockup appeared to lure unarmed correctional officers outside. Investigators say a positioned gunman then began firing. A responding Alvarado police officer was shot in the neck. He is expected to recover. According to the criminal charging document, in total, the assailant shot approximately 20 to 30 rounds at the correctional officers. The 10 suspects, the feds say, were dressed in military black, donned body armor. Some were even covered in mud. All face charges including attempted murder of an officer. There is also one charged co-conspirator. The arrest records reveal the individuals were from Fort Worth, Dallas, Kennedale, Waxahachie, and College Station.
They're all over the state. These are not people that were neighbors and decided to get together and cause harm. These were individuals that are basically across the state of Texas that have come together in some sort of an organized way.
Dr. Del Carmen, while insisting many things are clear surrounding the attack, believes an unanswered question is also crucial.
It would be interesting to know if there's a connection between the suspects and any of the inmates that are being held in that facility, as to whether or not they're trying to maybe plan somebody's quote-unquote rescue or escape from the facility, or if they were simply doing it as an easy target, a target that they knew how to get to.
Dion Anglin.
Crazy. This is crazy, bro. Crazy, crazy, crazy. People are out here doing their jobs. And you think that ambushing them and taking their lives is the answer. That's crazy. And all they're doing is deporting people back to their home countries. No one's taking any illegal immigrants' lives. No one's taking undocumented immigrants' lives. No one's taking their lives. Matter of fact, you guys are talking about, they're splitting the families. No, the whole family can go together. Or they can do like our friends did. This happened to us during the Obama administration, Barack Obama administration. He'd been here for decades. Manager, and I've said this story before, manager, successful manager, home, cars paid for, multiple cars, grown kids. And they deported him. This is during the Barack Obama administration. Didn't no one start shooting at the police or protesting or doing anything like that? They got to work. They got on their business. His wife, who's like our sister, she got on the business. We helped as much as we could. In 9 months, he got back over here. So there's no problems. Man's not looking over his shoulder, nothing. No, this right here is ridiculous. You're going to try to unalive ICE officers. This is crazy. Y'all just crazy, and that's all it is, man. Y'all just some crazy, stupid ass people, man.